Welcome to Work Liberated. This is the podcast you want to listen to if the workplace being the kind of place people want to be part of is important to you. If you know something in the world of work is off and you want to improve it. If you're leading people through change and you know that the environment at work is just as important as the work you're doing. If being a leader who inspires people is important to you, you will want to listen or watch Work Liberated. Welcome to Work Liberated. I'm really excited about this episode. Today, I have a new friend with me. Her name is Preethy Padmanabhan. Did I say it right?
Preethy Padmanabhan.
Thank you for being here with us. And I better learn how to speak well because I am going to India with her next year. We're in the process of planning this trip. How I met Preethy was at a How Women's Lead retreat about being on boards. And I was immediately pulled into her sphere because she is like God walking. And I don't mean God, like, oh, we're all going to get down on our knees and pray. I mean, God, like the giver of peace and love and acceptance. And she is that kind of person. And I just felt really, really safe to be in her presence. And so welcome to Work Liberated. You are a woman who has accomplished much in the world of Silicon Valley. And so I'd like you to say a little bit about your journey, where you are now and how you got there. And because this podcast is for people who want more agency, autonomy, and authority in how they work. They are people who already have grit and determination, but they want more. They want more of it all. And I want you to share who you are, how you got here, where you are, and how you got there.
Thank you, Margie. It's a pleasure to be here today. And the minute I met you, if you remember, we sat next to each other the first day we met, and it was such a connection instantly. And we share such deep roots, and I can feel that that the love and the kindness and the compassion that you bring, and I could feel that we would have a wonderful trip to India already, and this is going to be fantastic beginning. Right now, I'm a CMO at a venture fund. And I started out, believe it or not, as an engineer right out of college many, many years ago. Okay, I shouldn't say that. Maybe a few years ago. And so I started as an engineer. And in the past 25 years, I have actually grown from an individual contributor to a manager to a director to a vice president and now a CMO. And I worked across big companies like Cisco and Dell, and that I worked at 5 different startups, like fast-paced growth. A couple of them went IPO, and I was a marketing leader in those companies doing AI in the last 5 years. It's been a lot of adventure, a lot of excitement, and a lot of learning.
Wow. So given I met you at a How Women Lead event, what would you say was unique for you as a woman on the journey? First of all, you said, believe it or not, I'm an engineer. I could believe it. But there weren't very many women engineers when you were getting your degree. There still aren't as many women engineers. And so how was it being a woman and being a woman of color? Were you in the US when you were going through all this? And being a woman of color coming up, how was that?
So I grew up in India, but now I've lived more number of years in the US than I've lived in India. And so certainly I have experienced both sides where I was just like everybody else. But of course, the number of women was less than 25% of the total entry into our batch. So I could see that in my college undergrad, it was a minority. The good news was that means we had lots of pick for guys to date. But the flip side is you have to stand up for yourself as a woman to make sure that you're heard. And that's something I have practiced time and again, right from college, all the way through my adult life to make sure that I am heard and the women around me are heard in rooms, right? That is so important. Otherwise, it's very easy for our voices to get dissolved in all the noise.
It's so interesting that you even say this. As you know, I'm hosting Ignite Your Power Retreat, and you're going to be away somewhere really cool. Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be attending a wedding in Delhi, and I'm going to be touring some of South India. So I'm doing a little bit now and then later together with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, one of the things in all these interviews I've been doing lately with women, and these are women at your level, like CFO, CMO, CPO, CEO, and they're all saying the same thing. It's that there's times, whether it's because of the external environment or the internal environment, they don't always harness their voice. They don't always unleash it. So was there a moment in time where you had to turn up the volume? And if so, how did you get there? And what did that look like?
So I'll talk about a couple of examples, right? One where I had to address the internal noise, and the other time I had to address some external noise. So when my son was born, he's now 20 years old, but when he was around 2 years old, I was a manager in engineering. And I really wanted to grow my career. I wanted to become a VP one day, a C-level executive. But I was confused, in my mind. I was thinking, if I pursue that, will I have enough time? And will I be the mom I want to be? Or what you call a good mom, right? Will I be that? And thankfully, I met a wonderful coach, and I was able to make the shift internally by thinking about and designing the life the way I want it to be, so that I don't need to give up on my career goals, while at the same time giving my son the best childhood experience and the best path to where he's now a very successful adult. So that is how I was able to shift my internal compass. It was very critical, because if I hadn't done that, I would have been sitting in guilt all the time whenever I was growing my career, and then regretting if I had actually not grown my career. So I sort of saved myself from both of these negative.
Yeah, it's so great. So your coach brought alignment and really taught you early in your motherhood that you actually can live an invented life. And I too did not know that. Mine wasn't a coach. Mine was it was a 3-day retreat well, I wouldn't call it a retreat, but it was a 3-day large group self-awareness training. And in that, I saw that I had made up that I had to work like my father worked, and I had to do all these things, and I was in survival, and I got to become who I'd always been meant to be, but that my life had constrained my view from seeing that I could have that. And so it really talks to, I have the compass here, because the top of the compass is the North Star. It's the what's my aim, what's my intention, what's my vision. And then the rest of the compass is, am I on track or off track? And any of you that follow MargaretGraziano.com will know I've been off track a lot. And part of the reason I share my story is because we all get off track, but it's how long does it take us to get back on track?
It's true, even with a compass, right? They say that when you're flying a plane or when you're going at sea, you're mostly off track, and you have to make those minor corrections, that few degrees to get back on track. And that's what we got to do, right? That's what.
A couple times I went way off track. But for you, how did you realize you were suppressing your voice?
I could feel that I was doing my job like a job, and I would do it, I would be an engineer in one department for a couple of years. I would get bored. I would move to the next. I would keep on shifting within the same company. I moved different teams, but I was never fulfilled. because I was a very quick learner. I would learn very quickly and be able to master what I was doing. And then I would get bored. So I was like, am I not living to my fullest potential? Am I in the right job here? Do I need to pursue a master's or business degree? Like, what do I need to do? So that was the pivot point where I thought about, how do I build a career where I am fulfilled throughout and I'm not waiting for some fulfillment. I'm happy as I'm doing my job. Right? So that was a huge realization, and those conversations, that pivotal conversations that I had 15 years ago, were the key for me to get to where I am right now.
That's so great. Do you remember a moment in time? So it sounds like that was where it shifted in the brain, but do you remember the first time you opened your mouth or said something that before you wouldn't have? Like, do you remember the day, the meeting, what you said, and where you said to yourself, hey, Preethy, this is the new you?
Yes, actually, that was something, I had a very interesting experience. I was the first woman product manager to be hired at that time into a team with, I think, maybe 8 men or so at that time. So I was the first to walk in. And it so happened that I used to have these meetings, and I would even conduct these meetings, and I would call a meeting and I would go to that, and the men would all be talking to each other, and I wouldn't be able to talk, even insert a word, and it was my meeting. So there was a point one day when I said, I need to speak now. And I made everybody stop talking. I had to say that out loud.
Wow.
And then all of the folks stopped talking, and I could say what I had to say. And it's so interesting that, and it was almost like unconscious on their part, that they didn't even realize that they were not allowing me to speak. They were just being themselves. And so I had to actually change the tone and change the way I spoke. And go fast forward, what I realized was I had to be strategic and decide which meetings I was going to be the first person to speak, and which meetings I was going to be more of a listener. And then I then synthesize what I'm going to say towards the end, where when I'm called upon, and make it so powerful that everybody actually is following what I have to say, right? So I had to strategize that.
The first time I hired a coach, I was 36 years old. I owned my own business. I was a top producer in recruiting, and any challenge that I had as a recruiter was very different from the challenges that I had as a business owner. And I literally got to the point where what got me here would not get me there. And I needed someone to help me see what I couldn't see, so I could be who I knew I was destined to be. And in all the years that I had hired coaches and worked with coaches, every single one brought something to me that I didn't know until I worked with them. Keen Alignment's Momentum Coaching Program is a year-long course working one-on-one with a coach, where you create the future you want. Then you look at all the areas, the limiting beliefs, the behaviors, the personality, the personal reality that gets in your way. And then you look at what are the recipes or the disciplines that you need to work on so that you can get from where you are to where you want to be. Check out Keen Alignment's Momentum Coaching. Every coach on our team is certified by the International Coaching Federation. We have a robust training program that is included with coaching, that is leadership development, thriving through change, emotional intelligence, you name it, we have it, and it's all part of the package. Contact one of our coaches today and learn more. So what I'm hearing is there was a void. It was your meeting. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to say it the way I see it. There was a void of leadership. And so chaos was ensuing. And you actually had to step in and own what was already your space to turn cohesion from chaos, but there was a void, and you had to wake up and step in that, and that changed your life.
It certainly was one of the interesting moments of my life. Yeah.
Well, it changed because from that moment, look at what happened to your career. You went from all these different one job. And now, so what do you, I mean, now we know what you do. You're a CMO. But is there any other major pivotal moments in your career that our listeners, because everyone's looking for hope right now, Preethy, the world that we're living in, it feeds a lot of bad stuff. And we're talking about real life at work. Mm-hmm. I have been in this field since 1982. I know why people take jobs. I know why people leave jobs. I know why people get fired. I know why they get promoted. I know why they get promoted and then terminated. It's like there is a dynamic in the human system, and you're talking about a big piece of you owned your power. You didn't find your voice because it was already there. You just had to say, I need to speak now. Yes. That's really funny and cute, and I hope everyone steals that. Any other big pivotal moments that knocked you up to that next level of evolution as a leader?
Absolutely. I can share two other moments that helped me. So there was a time when I used to believe in org charts, where I would say, okay, I'm a product manager, so I have to become a senior product manager. And then I have to work my way up to a director after I start having people responsibility, and then work my way up. And so that was my perspective. And when I was trying to climb the ladder, as we call it, then I had multiple managers, and incidentally, they were all men. But what was happening is they were threatened by my leadership style, because I have this whole, I think, how do I say, when I go into a room, then I feel that I can bring so much laughter, I can bring so much joy, and I bring in
charm.
Life.
It's called charm. In the leadership training that I did with Coactive Leadership Institute, or Coactive Training Institute, in the leadership training, it was 1 year long, and in R1 we all went in and they said there's types. And there's the charm type, and the intelligent type, and the sex type, and the danger type, and the kinetic type, and the, on and on and on and on. I was labeled as danger and sex. Believe it or not, I don't really think that's true. I wanted to be labeled as charm, but I could totally see you as charm. Look at your smile. And that's how you were on the trip. And it sounds like that's just, it's charisma. It's, come on, let's have work be happy. Keep going. So
that would actually threaten them, because if they promoted me, then it's possible that I could take over. I could actually surpass them, right? That was, and so they wanted to keep me where I was. So I would get promised that I would get promoted in 6 months, and the 6 months never came. It became 2 years in this company I was working with. And it was a great company. I was really enjoying. I helped a business grow from 30 to 250 million in those 2 years, right? So it was a huge business growth I was driving. So I really wanted to actually get that result in a title and promotion to a director. And when that did not happen, again, I think the same coach actually helped me. And his advice was not to see it as a ladder. But I think we have also heard this from Sheryl Sandberg at the Jungle Gym, right? So then what I did, I went and asked for a chief of staff role with the CEO of the company, through the connection.
Wait a second. Here we are on Work Liberated. And are you hearing this? She just went and asked the CEO for a chief of staff role. That takes some chutzpah, lady, and some courage and some belief in herself. Yay, yay, yay. Keep going.
Thank you. And the CEO was pleasantly surprised. He was like, wow, this is great that you are actually aspiring, because I was literally 5 levels away from him, like a senior manager. And the good news is he actually had me go through the whole interview. And in those 2 weeks, every single C-level executive knew I existed in the company. They got to know me, they got to actually connect with me, and I could actually show the type of person I was to all of them. And I didn't get the chief of staff for the CEO job, but I got a chief of staff for a VP, which was great. And that's how I got promoted to a director. So that was a huge pivot point where I had to realize that it's not a ladder. You have to figure out the best way and the best leaders who support you. And that's how I got promoted. And that's one point. The second point, at the same time, I actually saw 2 images. We were going through this leadership workshop again, one of them, and I was seeing like 2 images. One was this tea plantation where you have step by step of the tree plantation. And then the other was a hot air balloon. So when I saw those 2 pictures, I said, why am I approaching my career like this step by step? If I got on a hot air balloon, I can go anywhere and I can drop myself where I want to go. So since then, I have been thinking of my career that way. So I'm going to pick up myself from where I am to where I want to go. I'm not going to think about, I don't have X, Y, Z of what qualification is needed. I'm just going to drop myself there and then figure it out.
Wow. So did you get the chief of staff role?
I did. I got it for the sales leader, which was amazing. I got my director promotion. And then rest is history. I kept growing after that.
Wow. So you were so cool. You know what? I knew I liked you. And it's interesting. I haven't said on this podcast, but Preethy and I were guests in the How Women Lead retreat, and we got to lead a special meditation and manifestation process on November 11th. And we rocked the house.
Absolutely. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah. And I know why I like you. We are so aligned on how we look at life. And I think that's awesome. And I would love, after I go on my vacation to India, if I love it, someday I'd like to work with you and take people over there and bring our business lives, bring the India sense of spirit into our business lives. So anyway, that's an invitation for the future. One more time in your life that you had a major breakthrough, and we'll be closing up. So give me the third and the biggie.
Wow. Breakthrough, one more.
Well, it was you said there were 3 times you wanted to share. One was I'm going to be the chief of staff, and one was going to be, I need to speak.
Yes. The third one was when I had that internal shift, but I can share one more, which is recently, actually, I shared this. This is an example.
Oh, the balloon. No, the balloon is the third. That's so that I have to say that is the best analogy I have ever understood. Like you said, a tree plantation.
A tea, tea estates, they are step by step, right? When you see.
No, I did not know that. I did not know that, but it sounds like hell. But I love the hot air balloon, and it's no accident that right now you're working for a venture fund and you're in in the world of these startups and supporting people in creating their vision into a reality. So last question I have for you before we go is, what is the vision for your life?
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful question, actually. And it made me think and codify what I believe in. And first of all, the 3 key values of my life are growth, impact, and learning. I've shortened it as GIL, right? And that is what I live by. And my vision is to bring the best in myself and the people around me. How do I bring out the best in them? And I do that through my work. I do that through the meditation practice that I teach, through leadership, to different ways, right? That is what I see is my vision. And I took on a vision during our retreat. In the past couple of years, I have been able to impact about 100 startups by giving them coaching. Actually, more than that, maybe I think 200 startups.
Silicon Valley, or also people in India? I thought you're also like you're in this international realm with Silicon Valley and India, right? That's what I learned when I went to your event. That was so cool, by the way.
Yeah, it is. And I think mostly across US, most startups, but some in India. But if I include that, it's certainly 250 plus startups that I have done sessions, either like one-on-one mentoring, or I have done like a group session where I talk to them about building their brand, growing their marketing, or how to grow 10x, right? Which is my podcast, 10x Growth. I talk about that. We did a keynote in the Florida chapter recently. So my vision I took was to help 1,000 startups with their growth journey. And as a result, if each of those startups are able to create 100 jobs, I took the vision of enabling about 100,000 jobs.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so, now that's real impact. That's real, 100,000 jobs. That's power. I was just telling someone the other day, everyone wants to work for the Fortune 1000, but do you realize small business is where the majority, and mid-size is where the majority of people, that's where the majority of wealth is created in the world. That's where the playing field levels. And so I love, Preethy, your commitment. I have only one more question and then we have to go. But I'm going to squeeze two in. What do you do for fun? Just one or two words.
I sing, I travel.
Oh, and what is the best vacation you've ever been on? Just tell us where you were.
The one we went to.
That you've ever been on?
Yeah, because it was my birthday week and you celebrated my birthday 3 times. It was so fun.
She is a total charm. Preethy, thank you so much. Preethy Padmanabhan, and she has a podcast called 10X. And in this podcast, you will see her contact information. And thank you so much for being here. And remember, agency, autonomy, and authority is available to each and every one of us. It's a mindset. And I'm taking this from Preethy, and I'll say it from now on. Are you going to take the route of the tea plantation, or are you going to get on the hot air balloon? Thank you very much. Thank you for watching another episode of Work Liberated. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with your friends, put a comment in the comment section, and like it. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.